Good morning. My name is Akashdeep Singh, and I am a second year BTech student at IIT Kharagpur in the Aerospace Engineering Department. And this is my low speed aerodynamics assignment of the video task. So first, I will define the problem statement that is being given, and I am going to be discussing the problem number 4. Okay. So the problem number 4 states as follows: we have to we have to find the direction of lift and drag forces on the airfoil that is under inside a wind tunnel. This is a test section of a wind tunnel subjected to uniform velocity, and this is the control volume being represented. And we will measure the lift and drag forces not directly from the standard method on the airfoil boundaries, but using the momentum equation in integral form and by using this control volume. And also, while discussing about the same, we will discuss about forces on the surfaces DE, which are the airfoil surfaces DE and FG, and efflux of momentum through surfaces DE and FG. So also we will make certain assumptions in this, which I will be discussing while I go through, and I'll also be using these particular equations while I'm discussing. So all these integral equations, these are derived from the momentum equation generally, basically. So this is not conventional force balance. This is basically a 2D body. Basically, this is a infinite wing which is attached to the walls of the wind tunnel, and it doesn't have like the vortex effects and all the corner effects. So we will only be discussing about this. We can assume this is a 2D body, airfoil section, and we will be discussing in terms of that. So let's get to the whiteboard. Okay. So I will first define the control volume that we are discussing over here. The control volume is nothing but this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A. So I'll just write down. Control volume is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A. This entire control volume. And also the width of the control volume is 1. Width is 1. So this is a unit span, you can say, inside the paper, perpendicular to the paper plane. We are considering the width, which is 1 in dimension, and it is a unit span. So everything we'll measure is in drag per unit span, lift per unit span. So that's how we will be considering. Also in this airfoil is subjected to a uniform velocity u1, which is a constant, and in x direction. However, after the airfoil, after the wind goes through, after the air goes through the airfoil, it doesn't remain constant anymore. It becomes a function of y. U2 is equal to U2 of y, function of y. So because this happens because of the wake produced behind the airfoil, so we have a y varying velocity, and the boundaries over here, A, B, and I, H. These are well far away from the airfoil, so these can be assumed as free stream, and pressure at here also will be free stream pressure. So this is the control volume as I have defined, and y-axis, this is the coordinate plane that we'll be taking in. And so let's get started with the control volume discussion further. So the next thing I will be doing is I'll be discussing about the forces that are acting on the control volume. So since we saw the control volume consists of these sections, that AB, one is this AB boundary, one is this IH boundary, and then one is this AI boundary, perpendicular, and one is this HBBH boundary, and then one is this airfoil bounding boundary, this CDEFGH. So these are the three major, you can differentiate the boundaries as three major different boundaries. And also now I would like to discuss about forces on the control volume. We have defined the control volume very well. Now we'll discuss about the forces on the control volume. So there are two major forces as I've written: pressure distribution and the surface force. Pressure distribution on the over the surface ABHI. If we consider the surface ABHI, the pressure forces will be, we can just generally write the expression integral ABHI surface integral PDS, let's say. So this will be my pressure distribution over the surface ABHI. And surface force on DEF, that is basically bounding the airfoil, by the presence of body will be, as we have seen over here, it will be R prime. So this R prime. On the outer bodies, we have neglected the shear stress. The shear stress on AB and HI has been neglected. However, on CD and FG are taken adjacent to each other. Any shear stress or pressure distribution on one is equal and opposite to the other. So surface forces on CD and FG cancel each other. And also we have to note that surface force on DEF is the equal and opposite reaction to shear stress and pressure distribution created by flow over the surface of body. So to discuss this clearly, of moving fluid, we see that a moving fluid, it creates a resultant force, aerodynamic force per unit span on this body, because this is per unit span. Let's name that force as R prime. That's what it has been named as diagram. So by Newton's third law, we can say that the body exerts a force on the control surface minus R prime. So this is what this diagram represents. That this R prime is the net force on the body by the flow, and this minus R prime is the back Newton's opposite force. And with this in mind, with these two forces in mind, now we can finally say that the total surface force on the entire control volume is this, and also we'll just add this minus R prime. So this is the total surface force that is acting on the control volume. This is the final expression of the total surface force. Now, since we have defined the total surface force, now we'll go to the next step. The next step is using the momentum integral equation, which plays a very vital role in this particular problem statement. So the momentum equation is given by this in a very general form. This is the most general form of momentum equation in integral nature, of course. And since this momentum equation is given by this, we can say that the right hand side of the momentum equation in context of this, we can write this equation as del by del t triple integral over the control volume rho v dv plus this term integral surface. The right hand side of the control this momentum equation, it should become this F viscous is again assumed to be 0. So this should become nothing but what we have written above, this term. Sorry, this term, ABHI term. So this just is nothing but this, ABHI PDS minus R prime. So this is what we get from the momentum equation, and this is why it plays a very vital role. It connects the important terminologies that we have derived, all the important terms that we have derived, and it helps in further deriving the R prime and then taking the horizontal component. So this was our second step, to use the momentum equation to get the relations as such. Also, assuming steady flow, we can just say this is equal to 0 because this del by del t term is there. So this is one of the assumptions that are being taken over here. Since we had discussion, what are the do we rigorously find the forces in efflux of momentum across D and Fg, and do we make some argument and ignore them in overall result? So some assumptions are there that we take in mind, that steady flow is there, uniform velocity was there inside that. So anyway, so this equation this becomes 0. So this equation just remains with this. And from this equation, you can just isolate R prime in one direction, and it should become R prime is equal to, it should become this equation that I've written over here. Should become this equation from this. So now that we have R prime, we can just take the horizontal component of R prime. That will be nothing but a drag, as we saw from this diagram. Yeah, this diagram, this horizontal velocity, free stream velocity, taking the perpendicular and horizontal components respectively, lift and drag. So we can get drag. U is nothing but the velocity on that horizontal velocity, and this is the pressure distribution force in the x direction. So this is the final, this is the integral form of drag equation that we get. And also in this, we have to see that the boundaries of the control volume ABHI are very far. So the P is constant. This P is constant. So this entire term will again become 0. So what we remain with is a very simple equation, just that drag per unit span is equal to integral surface integral of P V dot ds into U. That will be our horizontal direction. This is the final integral equation, and we will further simplify this equation. That will be the third step of the problem statement, how to solve the problem. So the third step of the problem statement, to simplify this. So far we have done, the first step was to define the control volume and also to find the pressure distributions and all that. Second step was to use the momentum equation and to derive a relation between R and the velocity. the integral relation between the ABHI, surface integral, all these important terms, and finally reducing it using some assumptions and also using some pressure is constant and using these facts, we have finally come down to this simple equation, integral equation, d per unit span, drag per unit span is equal to this. Now we'll further simplify this, which will be the third step. The third step is basically that we know that AB, HI, DEF are basically one of the few streamlines of the flow. And also we know that V is perpendicular, by definition, V is perpendicular to the streamlines. DS is perpendicular, V is parallel to the streamlines, and DS is perpendicular to the control surface. So V dot DS are basically perpendicular vectors and their dot product should be equal to 0. And as a result, AB, HI and DEF, since this is a V dot DS, AB, HI, DEF, these three control volumes, streamlines will have this term equal to integral equal to 0. So there will be no contribution by AB, HI and DEF towards this expression. So we get these expression equal to 0 for these three particular this thing. So what remains is CD, FG and also AI and BH are remaining. So CD and FG, although are not 0, but they are adjacent to each other, as you can see in this diagram that I had shown before, the problem statement itself. Since they are adjacent to each other, the mass flux out of one is identical, the mass identically basically equal to the mass flux into the other. So they are just opposite in sign and equal in magnitude. So contributions of CD and FG to the integral equation will just cancel out. So they will both cancel out to become 0. So these are also gone. These are also gone and these are also gone. So only that remain are AI and BH, which have a positive and a finite, not a positive, a finite value for the integral expression. So considering only these two, and also we should see that ds is nothing but our dy into 1, because our span is 1 again. I'm repeating again, the width is 1, dy is the perpendicular thing, so dy into 1 is our ds. So considering this and considering these two equations, and also considering that these are contributing nothing, only ai and bh are contributing, we shall simplify the expression again, which is being done here. Yeah, this equation, I will just write it down again for more clarity. So it should become this integral equation should become minus I to A rho I U1 it should become U1 square dy. It is written square over here, so I'm assuming it is square. Yeah, I shall derive how the square comes for now, but I'll just write it down for now. U1 square plus H to be rho 2, which is the density on the other side. U2 is the velocity on the other side dependent on y, dy. Now, before we go further, this equation that we got, consider the integral form of continuity equation for standard like steady flow, which I will not write down here, but it is a standard equation. So like if you consider that particular equation and apply it to the control volume in our case, then equation like basically we will get this term that IA rho n U1 dy is equal to HB rho 2 U2 dy. This. And if we substitute this particular equation which we got from continuity equation into into the equation that we got for this drag per unit span, this equation, which is equal to nothing but this continuity, this simplifying this equation, so drag per unit span. So if we substitute that, we'll finally get nothing but drag per unit span is equal to H to be rho 2 U2 U1 minus U2 dy. So we have finally derived the entire drag per unit span in this problem statement particularly considered, and this completes our third step. Now, before we end this, I would just like to point out some observations which I will take from this particular equation. That we know that U1, U2, rho 2, these are known quantities and can be measured in a wind tunnel. These are just flow field properties. So what observation I would like to make over here is, if we examine this equation, u1 minus u2 is basically the velocity decrement at a particular location y, at y. And now that is because why is that decrement happening? That is because drag of the body is there and there is a wake that trails downstream of the body, and in this particular wake there is a loss in flow velocity, which is just u1 minus u2, and quantity rho to u2 is nothing but the flux, mass flux. So this mass flux when multiplied with u1 minus u2, what this should give is nothing but momentum decrement. This was velocity decrement, mass efflux, so this should just give momentum decrement. So this equation is physically the decrement in momentum flow that exists across the wake, and this wake momentum decrement is equal to nothing but our required drag of the body. And for incompressible flow, if we assume, as one assumption, rho is constant and also is known, so this drag equation should just take out this rho again out, so it should become h to be u2 into u1 minus u2 dy, which is nothing but a drag per unit span, and rho will be outside as a constant. So with this, we have finally derived drag per unit span as per the problem. We have also, the problem statement was just to tell the direction of drag, however, but I have properly I've derived the drag value, and I've also discussed the momentum on the way to derive that. I've discussed the momentum through surfaces DEF, basically the forces through DEF and FG and all the other control surfaces as well, actually. And also to find the forces efflux of momentum and all these, we saw that we can certainly make some values equal to 0, and some are cancelling out each other, and only few remain in the end. So this is finally done, and this can also, the similar three-step method can be followed to solve the problem. If we, instead of drag, we can use lift, but however I use drag for as per my convenience. So with this we can say that we have understood the problem, and that we have solved the problem, and we have answered the doubts that have been talked about in this particular statement. Thank you.